No bills have been introduced. The House comes to questions for oral answer. Question number 1, in the name of David Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance. What reports has he received on the economy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Speaker, it's a very insightful question. Mr Speaker, today Statistics New Zealand released the GDP figures showing the New Zealand economy grew by 0.9% in the June quarter and by 3.6% in the year to June 30th. This puts New Zealand's growth rate third in the developed world behind Luxembourg and the Slovak Republic. Overall growth was broad-based, with 11 of 16 industry sectors growing and 15 of those sectors growing over the previous year, which shows the New Zealand economy is continuing to diversify and growth is broad-based.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
What were the main drivers of economic growth in the year to June?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, unsurprisingly, growth was driven by construction, or led by construction, which grew 5.1% over the quarter. Residential construction is up 10% over the year, reinforcing the fact that New Zealand is in a significant building boom. Growth was broad-based. Even though the dairy sector has been doing it tough, exports were up $3 billion. And in the last quarter, exports grew at the fastest rate in 18 years. This growth means that the value of the New Zealand economy passed the $250 billion mark for the first time ever.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
How does New Zealand's growth rate compare to the average among OECD countries?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, a lot of OECD countries are caught in a situation with pretty high public debt, high unemployment and relatively low growth rates. So the average for the OECD is just 1.6%. So our growth rate of 3.6% compares to 2.2% in the United Kingdom, 1.2% in the US and 0.8% in Japan. So it is a solid result for the economy, but there are many risks around, and if we want to continue to deliver higher incomes and more jobs for households, there's plenty to do.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Isn't it correct that our real per capita growth of 0.7% puts us behind Germany, Canada, the United States, the UK and Japan? And isn't real per person growth the measure that his budget says we should be looking at?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, as we've discussed at some length actually in the House here, it is another measure of the economy, and in the long run, per capita income matters a lot. At the moment, it's not surprising it's a bit soft because we have faster population growth than any of those countries. So with a surge in population and New Zealanders staying home rather than leaving, it's not surprising per head income is soft, growth is softer, but as immigration turns down, it's quite likely that that number will rise again.
Supplementary question.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
How does the growing economy help support vulnerable New Zealand families?
Order. The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the Household Incomes Report recently published by MSD notes that a growing economy is having a noticeable impact on, particularly on measures of hardship, helping those who are in not quite so severe hardship and those who describe themselves as just getting by. However, it is still the case that even in a growing economy, those who are suffering persistent deprivation don't see an automatic uplift from higher growth rates, which is why the government has such an active program of working with the most vulnerable to deal with the barriers that they face, particularly into getting into work, but also to better incomes.
Question number 2.